And we are back in studio. With me is Michelle Donashrod. She is a different kind of an attorney. She is a whole. Can we put these two words together? I can say this: a holistic attorney.
You can call me that.
She's a holistic attorney.
I didn't know I was that.
I mean, but when you spoke about it before the break, you say you treat the whole client, you treat the entire family. That it's not about just the litigation and the mediation. It's about what is it that you want. You start with them from scratch about their foundation. What do they want? Let's deal. Okay, we understand that this relationship is dissolving. Let's build a foundation now for your new future, for the new future of your children. I want to know, because you've gone through this yourself, unfortunately, and you, as you said earlier, you had 2 small children, you were pregnant with your 3rd child, and you had to go through, as a pre-med student, you switched and became an attorney. I want to know personally, how has it changed you as a human being, as a woman, and as a mother, seeing this process and going through this?
Well, there's so many different ways. First of all, yes, I did go through law school to handle my own divorce. Mm-hmm. So I became a lawyer that way. That's how it changed me. Another way, my children were impacted by the divorce very much. I could see how children get impacted and suffer from the divorce.
Now, what's the dynamic of your children, the boys and girls?
Okay, I have a 22-year-old son. Mm-hmm. I have a 20-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old son. I love them madly.
Okay. They're probably spoiled rotten.
They are.
Now, are your boys mama's boys now?
They
won't admit it. You did the nanosecond thing. And that means that yes, they are, but they will not admit that. They will not admit that. And how did you see them? Were they small when this happened?
I couldn't say they are. I got it. They're their own. Each one of them is different. So. Yeah.
Now, did this happen when they were small?
Yes.
So they were products of the divorce.
Yes.
How were you able to soften the blow, as it were, for them?
I transformed in that process because I dealing with the children's issues. As I said, I went through education. I worked on myself. Mm-hmm. And it was through working on myself that I realized, my kids needed unconditional love. Mm-hmm. You hear from the outside, your child's doing this, doing that, doing this. You got to do that. You got to stand firm upon it. I'm not saying anything against it, but I learned for my children that for me to be unconditional love, I had to work on myself. Mm-hmm. And they needed love and they needed trust.
And had you ignored yourself because you were so focused on the marriage and so focused on being a mother that it was kind of like Michelle was on the back burner, and as a result of your marriage dissolving, you had to take and put you on the front burner so that you could make sure that your children were okay, because they became your kids are always your primary focus as a mom. You kind of forget about yourself, and it's like their needs are the first needs, and you realize that you had to take care of you to be able to effectively take care of them and give them that unconditional love. And how was that transition for you? To take yourself from the back burner, being the wife and the mom and the caregiver, to saying, I got to make sure that Michelle is okay. I got a sign in my house right now that says, if mother's not okay, if mother's not happy, nobody in this place gonna be happy. So my first priority has to be me, because if I'm not happy, if I don't feel fulfilled, there's no way I can make sure that my husband is fulfilled, my son, my grandchildren, and the other people that are around me. And it took a while to take me off the back burner and go through that process and go, okay, you matter. And if you're not happy, how can you make other people happy? And I wanted to know, what was your process from going from that back burner? Because sometimes we're not even on the back burner. We're not even on the stove. Girl, we in the cabinet. We're in the back in the corner with the plastic bags and the brown paper bags. And then we feel like, well, if I pull myself to the front, I feel guilty. Did you go through that?
I'm still going through that. This is a work in process. I am a work in process.
We all are.
I won't stop learning. And this applies to everybody. Mm-hmm. I think every single one of us would benefit, need to benefit about, being responsible for oneself. Mm-hmm. And what matters to you. And so that you can listen and be with the others. And, it's a whole process. And we're all working on it. I'm still working on it. Yeah.
Oh, I think when we stop working on it, then we got a problem.
Right.
If we wake up, I always say, I am not working for perfection. I am totally not working toward being a perfect person. I am working toward excellence. And I understand the difference between perfection and excellence. And I do want to be excellent in all the things that I do and that I attempt to do. Sometimes I'm going to fall by the wayside and fall down. And when you do fall down, how do you pick Michelle up when you fall down? Because we all fall down.
Yes, just like what I want for my clients. To accept what there is to accept, to forgive what you need to forgive, and to just take responsibility. This happened. I'm responsible. Not blame, not fault. But,
you know how the girl, you done said some words that people are probably falling off the back of their chair, because we always, when something goes wrong, I want to blame you. It's your fault. You said. Oh, I blame me. I said. I did. How do you take that blame, from blame to forgiveness? Because I think it's so important that we forgive. And we have to start with ourselves, because so many of us will hold a grudge. We will be mad for years and years, and sometimes we even forget what we're mad about. How did you take that? Did you ever blame yourself for the dissolvement and the dissolution, the failure of the falling down of your marriage? I won't say it failed, because sometimes people just grow apart. You just, go in a different direction. What would you advise somebody who's in that space to say, stop with the blame game and start to forgive?
I would say, as long as you're blaming, you are a victim, and do you want to live the rest of your life being a victim?
Let me get the arrow out. She said, as long as you blaming. Okay. And so many people are still blaming.
Yeah.
They need to take that arrow out.
And here's the thing, it's very interesting. I would say, look, underneath that blame, you really care about that person, and you really care about that person caring about you. I get that. But do you get that?
A lot of them don't get that, because it's that wall of lack of communication. They put that wall up, and a lot of times what I've seen is that they put that wall up and they think it's a wall of protection, when it's really a wall of deflecting what the truth is, deflecting what you need to be able to deal with. And sometimes we build that wall brick by brick. Sometimes we put it up all at one time.
Yeah.
What do you say to them when your client comes in and they got this wall around her, and he is like, you know what, I really want to get this wall down? How do you, as a dismantler, because that's what you become when you become the collaborative attorney. It seems like, you have to wear 15 hats, like turn into a Jamaican, got 15 jobs. I got to take the wall down. I got to be the communicator. I got to be the person that sit down. How do you start that process with them?
First, I want to bring attention to, you said wall deflection. That is not taking responsibility. And it is about and it's so normal to each and every one of us. And when we don't want to take the responsibility, we feel we have no power, right? So, but explaining it won't do anything. But just addressing, what are they thinking? What is it that, just by looking at it, and then distinguish it. Is it real? For example, I can't do this. I spent 20 years in this marriage, and this is what I've become.
And they're terrified. They have that.
Yes.
They have so much fear. And you know what fear stands for, right?
What is it?
False evidence appearing real.
Very
and
great.
we will put that fear up, and we'll say, oh no, this is what I see. This and he gonna leave me, and my whole world gonna fall apart, and I don't know what to do without my wife, and I'm just so fearful. I'm so fearful, and I'm so fretful, and then they can't think.
Yeah.
They can't think through it. And that's why they ought to come to you, and a collaborative attorney.
Yeah, you get empowered to look at the future. This is a whole process to a beautiful future that can only happen if you start creating it. So imagine the pain, the fear, all of those emotions are appropriate and necessary.
And then you're terrified of the future because you have been in this comfort zone for 10, 15, 20, 35 years. And this is what your life has been like. And now everything has been upended. And then you have to, there's a place that you can go, because a lot of people just simply don't know. I have some of my friends right now who are going through a horrible, terrible time. They're going through a divorce and they really just don't know what to do. And I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to sit and chat with you and meet with you, because I'm certainly going to give her your phone number. We were talking just the other day and she was like, Mother Love, I don't know what to do. I've been with this man for 24 years. Another one of my friends have been with her husband 34 years and 37 years, and they're going through a horrific divorce. And I'm like, I'm the wrong person to tell you what to do. One of them she has been in an abusive relationship, and I have said to her, you don't deserve to be knocked on. So you need to get out of that. Yeah. And so she's like, well, Mother Love, how you telling me I should leave I'm like, he done hit you in the head. He done put you in the hospital. He done knocked your teeth out of your mouth. This is not love. I am no litigator, but I'm like, you put your hands on me, somebody gonna draw back a nub. That's just me. I'm just crazy like that. Yeah. And like my husband said to me a long time ago, when we sat down and we talked about, I think we had our own collaborative process, because we laid down a foundation. There were things that we were not going to tolerate. We sat down, we talked about our finances. I'm like, we're going to make the money together. We'll go broke together. We'll rise up together. I said to him, and some of my relatives had been involved in abusive relationships. And I said to him, because I got a mouth on me. I don't know if you noticed that, but I could say some stuff. And, I'd be cussing him out. And he'd be like, that's the last one I'm going to be now. Okay, baby, now and I'd sit down and shut up. And some people don't know when to stop. But I said to him, if you ever put your hands on me, he said, well, honey, if I ever feel the need that I will put my hands on you, I'm going to walk away first. Never. He has never put his hands on me except in a loving and a very sensual manner, I must say. And I do like that touching stuff. And that was our foundation. I think that's where, and I'm asking you, do you think that is the smart thing to do, to lay down the foundation before you because we were talking about premarital agreements. In the premarital agreement, what you will do, what you will not do, what your breaking point is.
That is
again the communication.
This is an opportunity to talk about everything that maybe you were afraid to address. And don't you want to bring all your concerns out and deal with it, rather than start a marriage without having discussed it all?
And then when you get down the line and this happens, somewhere down the line. I wrote a book called, long time ago, called Listen Up, Girlfriends, Lessons on Life from the Queen of Advice. That would be me. And some of the things I said in there is that if you don't have a good relationship, when you don't have a good relationship with yourself and you don't like you, you're going to be hard pressed to have a good relationship with somebody else. And so many women, I want to be in love. I want to get married. I want to have a fabulous wedding. Okay, but what happens? And this was even before these wars in Afghanistan and Iraq were happening. And our men and women were coming back wounded. And they were having, post-traumatic stress disorder. And this was happening in all the wars, but the men and women just never talked about it. But now they're opening up and they're talking about this. When you see young people that are coming back from war and they haven't discussed how they're going to deal with their mates coming back before they left, before they got married. I mean, I've seen relationships and her relationships where he or she has come back wounded and the marriage dissolves. What would you advise them to do? What would you say to them before, during, and after?
Again, it's about what are your concerns that you talk about it, and what is your commitment? What do you want? I had a woman call me to get a divorce. I had an hour conversation with her. Okay, and she realized she didn't want a divorce. I don't convince anybody of anything, but I really dig deep in what they really want. And if they don't want to get a divorce, they don't get a divorce.
Wait a minute, she called you to get a divorce, Michelle, and even after you talked to her, she was like, well, you know what, I really, because you had to ask her these probing questions to find out what it was that she wanted.
Yes. She really wanted to stay married, and she just wanted to give him a hard time to get the attention she wanted. And
how do you deal with that when they're calling you for a divorce and then you find out they don't want a divorce?
Because that's fine. Look, for me, fulfillment is worth everything. And what would I want money? Money is great. I want money. I'm not going to doubt it. But what do I want money for? That I can't buy fulfillment. But fulfillment is, for me, everything. So for me to make a difference and to do good is more valuable than anything.
So now, when back to our veterans coming back, and they're coming back so wounded, and we're seeing the divorce rate and unfortunately the suicide rate among our soldiers coming back from these horrific things that they've seen. And some of the wives are saying, well, I can't deal with him with no arms, or I can't deal with him with a prosthetic leg. And some of them say, I can deal with this. What do you think?
Okay, you know what I would do, honestly? I would recommend that they go to the education I went to. I don't get any financial benefit, people doing landmark education, but it's a distinctions that I've learned that I apply in my work, that people really accept right now how things are. And by accepting, acceptance is loving.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like I was saying in the book that I wrote, I had like a 10 or 15 point, what if this happened to you? How would you react? And one of them was, okay, you love him. I mean, I'm looking at you. You're a beautiful young woman, and well, you can get away with being a beautiful young woman even though you got grown children. And you meet this guy and he sees you and you're in a horrific accident and you're disfigured. Would he stay with you? And sometimes they go, no, I wouldn't. And sometimes they go, no matter what. I was reading a story about this woman. She and her fiance had planned this fabulous wedding. She was in a horrible, terrible accident, paralyzed from the waist down, disfigured, and she just knew. They hadn't talked about this, but she said, I just knew he was going to leave me. He was not going to stay with me. I couldn't walk down the aisle. Half of my face is burned off. This guy is not going to stay with me. When she came out of her coma, he was the first person she saw. And she just was flabbergasted. And he was a little distraught with her because she said, I didn't think you would be here. See, me, I'd have slapped the taste out of him. How dare you think? Because people always want to put conditions on how you're going to be. And when you talk about this landmark education, talk about what that is and how people, and can anybody take a landmark education course?
Yes, it's an educational course. They go to www.landmarkeducation.com and they can get information about the course. And one of the things, I just wanted to, you said what you said about that. And here's one of the techniques, right, that I use. You think what you think. Let's see what you think. And now let's deal with reality. What you think and what's real is not the same thing. So just like she thought he wouldn't be there, and the reality of it was he was right there with her. Right. So one of the spouses may have done something. It's what they've done, and what you made it mean is something else. That's what you think and the reality of it. Yeah. And how you get free from all this resentment and anger is to realize whatever is done, first of all, is not personal. It doesn't mean this person didn't love you or that this person wanted to hurt you or that you didn't matter to this person. It's the fact that this person did what they did, right? And the fact to acknowledge is that you feel all these sorts of things and you think all these sorts of things. And is it all right to think that and to feel these things and just deal with it? Is it all right to have gravity? It is the way it is. I think we would want that gravity. We can go fight it all we want, but it's there. That's what it is. That's what's keeping your behind anchored to the ground. Deal with what the reality of it is. Yeah. But Michelle, in reality, so many people live in a non-realistic state. It's what I perceive it to be. And if it's not like this, I can't deal with the reality. How do you, as an attorney, take them out of that, what they perceive it to be and what really is, to get them into that reality state to deal with what they need to deal with right now, with the right now? Right. So let's see. There it is what's so and what you think. What are you committed to? What do you want? What do you want for your life? What do you want for your family? What are you committed to? Let's have a picture of that. Let's focus on that. And let's see how we can have a resolution to support you in that. That's the focus. Whatever's the past been is the past. Where you want to go is what we want to focus on.
Why do you think people just drag the past into it and not just, come to you and say, okay, Michelle, this is the situation. My marriage is dissolving, my business is dissolving, and I need some help. But every time they come to you, you listening to stuff that happened yesterday, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, and you trying to drag them into right now. I'm sure that would be frustrating for me. It's frustrating for me when I talk to people about what their relationships are going through, and they keep bringing up 1976 and what he did in 1995, and I'm like, okay, but can we just be in 2012? How do you get them into right now?
I think it is by questioning, like really understanding first of all what their experience is, and then what do you want?
It comes all the way back to what do you want?
You want to be unwavering about what they want, and when they choose what they want, they become responsible. They're not about complaining or punishing or fixing something. It becomes about, what do I want?
What do I want
for the future? And if it's like, no, I want this person to pay for their sins, then that's not,
Let me ask you this about that. Have you ever, because when you find out what they want, and you said earlier you talked to a woman who thought she was calling you to get a divorce, and after you talked to her for an hour, she realized she didn't want to have a divorce. Yeah. Have you ever had to say to a client, and this is not for you, this is not what you need? Have you ever had to turn one down?
I had to tell a client that we are not a good fit because she wanted to fight him and get the most out of him, and I am not the person to do that for her.
So you will tell them straight up, no, you need to go to somebody who want to be vindictive, and you need to have a litigator, and I'm here to be a collaborative person.
Yes.
So now and that's very comfortable for you to be able to do that. Because
it won't work, as I said. There's got to be, integrity to the process.
There's another word she used as an attorney. She went through holistic, and now she's an attorney with integrity and passion and compassion. Where did that come from? Tell me about your background. When did you know that you switched from being a pre-med student to an attorney when you went through your own divorce? What made you say, take that big giant leap? Something in you had to say, I can do this. And how did you know that you could do that?
Which part? Which one?
To be switched from being pre-med to being an attorney.
Oh, to being an attorney? Well, this is something I'm going to tell you that I would want to say to people who go through abusive relationships. If you had lived through an abusive relationship, imagine what you can do without that relationship. You can take on the world.
Say it. That's what I told my girlfriend. You can take on the world. Imagine if you don't have to worry about if he's sneaking up on you, if he's damaging your car, if he's trying to, do crazy things to you. Imagine what you could do with that extra energy that you now have.
Now, that I could say that it doesn't even have to be an abusive relationship. When you are in a relationship that's not working, that's draining you, that you're tolerating, right?
Oh, did you go with it? Because a lot of people are tolerating their relationships.
So if you stop doing that, imagine what you can do in your life. So there is.
How has it changed you? When you imagine what you could do without the crazy from your divorce and the disillusion of your marriage? How did it change you? How did you grow?
So that's chaos and problem and conflict is not bad. It has you grow.
Okay.
And you have to go through the pain, and you do go through all the processes that we include in the collaborative process to grow. So it's not a bad thing. You are now becoming a new human being. And the experience of going from who you were before to who you want to be, sometimes it occurs like death, because the old person is dying and then a new person. So it's not going to be easy. kind of like a lobster losing their shell.
Yeah,
right?
honey, if it were easy, everybody could do it. And anybody could do it. And it's not an easy process. And let me ask you this personally. Are you happy with Michelle now? Do you like the Michelle that you have become?
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Thank you for that question.
Yes, plain and simple. And how has it made you different as a mother? Going through this process, going through this painful growth process.
Well, just my whole life process. How it has been is that I now listen to what my kids want, and I've been working on and learning to not try to control and dominate what the kids are going to do, because it's not going to work anyway.
Wait a minute. See, you just messed me up. I thought I was in control. I thought I was in control of the universe, and then I found out I am not in control of the universe. I'm not even in control of my universe. God is in control. And I love the person that you are. You have such great light, and I'm glad that I got to meet the new Michelle. It has been my distinct honor and pleasure. Give your phone number again before we go so people will know how to get in touch with you. And are you taking any new clients?
Absolutely.
Okay. How can they get in touch with you?
I have an army to take care of. Not a fighting army, but a loving, strong. Yes. My number is 818-991-0519.
And if you need the help, there's a collaborative process that you can go through with love and compassion in a holistic, healing way with a team that has integrity. And we can put that all in one sentence with an attorney. Michelle, it has been my distinct honor and pleasure. Please know that you are welcome here at the Mother Love Show. Let us know what's going on in your life. Please stay in touch with us. And babies, you know I love you, and there's nothing you can do about mother loving you. Peace, babies.